former Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff. Terry, always great to see you, and thanks for being here.
Good to be on, Greg.
The Attorney General is claiming that it was the Iranian government that directed and approved this planned terrorist attack on American soil that included murder and mass destruction. Congressman Peter King says this is an act of war. Others agree. Is it?
Well, no question, it's a very serious breach of a whole host of domestic and international laws. Now, nothing has happened yet, and nothing did happen, so I don't know that I'd go so far as to say it's an act of war, but it's clearly contemplated the kind of action that could be treated as a warlike act.
You know, as former Secretary of Homeland Security, you were devoted to stopping terrorists from entering into our country from all access points. Given this particular plot's nexus to the Los Zetas Mexican cartel, how worried are you that terrorists can penetrate that southern border?
Well, let's separate two things out. Based on what's been revealed in the complaint, it doesn't look as if the operatives here actually made contact with the Zetas. They dealt with an informant. It is interesting and troubling, though, that they would look to a Mexican transnational cartel as a possible ally in carrying out a terrorist attack. Now, that might not have been a prudent or a wise course, but it suggests that their thinking is going in a disturbing direction.
You know, the Obama administration is reportedly planning to try to leverage these charges into a new global campaign to try to isolate Iran. But look, we have tried that in a wide variety of ways many times before. And the Islamic Republic has shown utter indifference to financial sanctions and penalties. So is this, in a way, yet another feckless exercise?
Well, part of the problem is some of the other actors in the international arena have been very slow to end sanctions. And I think this might be an occasion when we can really put some pressure on the Chinese and the Russians to get on board with perhaps a wider range of sanctions than we've been engaging in so far. Frankly, I'd also look at the question of beginning to strike at Iranian diplomats' rights to travel around the world and to attend various sessions, international sessions in other countries, because they haven't been very big respecters of diplomatic immunity.
You know, the president took office vowing to engage in Iran. In retrospect, does that seem like perhaps a naive exercise that has served to enable the leadership in Tehran to not only accelerate its acts of sponsored terrorism, but to move forward aggressively with its pursuit of nuclear weapons?
I think that the leadership of Iran has demonstrated again and again that reason and efforts to be friendly are completely wasted. Most recently when the leader came and spoke to the UN and gave a vicious speech. I think we ought to be reaching out more to the green opposition, and we ought to also contemplate, in light of this most recent plot, what it would mean if the Iranians actually got a nuclear weapon. I don't think we could count on the ordinary logic of deterrence as working in the case of Iran in a way that we might have thought.
Yeah, deterrence is dependent upon a reasoned and logical opponent. Tehran may be anathema to that. The administration has said no option is off the table here. In your mind, should we be considering moving beyond diplomatic means?
Well, I think no option should be off the table. Now, obviously, there are practical considerations about what you can do effectively, what the consequences and fallout would be. There are probably things you'd want to do covertly that you wouldn't want to make public, and I hope and administration is looking at all of those options. Remember, we've had issues with the Iranians both meddling in Iraq, meddling in Afghanistan, and frankly being very difficult with respect to what's going on in Syria now. They're supporting the current regime. So they're involved in all kinds of mischief. It's not just this one serious plot.
Their tentacles spread far and wide. Secretary Michael Chertoff, former Secretary of Homeland Security, thank you for being with us.
Good to be on.